Just a small harvest for a stir fry tonight, but I wanted to show you, well, not the strawberries. They won't go in my stir fry. They're just to get them away from the mouse, who'll probably eat them. But I wanted to show you the onions because these were not intended to be green onions, but rather bulb onions. But out of my 300, I think it is, that went out in the garden, there's 2 that we're about to go to seed, to flower. And that's what can happen with sets. 2 out of 300 isn't bad. And last year, though I didn't have as many onions, I only had 2 last year that also bolted. And it's various issues. It's the weather can trigger them mostly, but because they're sets, of course, a set is simply an onion that's been stopped from growing further and pulled to give us an advantage as gardeners. It works okay in the Atlantic provinces because of our weather, so it works quite well. However, because they're already a year on, and if they get really hot days, which believe it or not, we had a couple here back to back, it triggers them. And they say, whoa, hey, it's time for me to set. So I've pulled these 2 to use. I will utilize all the greens. Utilize it just like a green onion, but they go, if you leave them in the ground, they become inedible because it's just a very hard stalk in the middle. So, got some rapini or broccoli rabe, some red mustard to stir fry with that, and some young Swiss chard because we just love it and we'll eat it any day of the week. We had 3 days of a lot of rain, and rain is always good, but the temperatures were 8 degrees. It was really cold. Felt way colder than that, and high winds. So can you tell which way the wind was blowing here? Not too steady. My garlic has a real tilt to it now. Hello. We have some nice weather today. It's a little crisp, but after 3 days of a lot of rain and high winds, quite a few of my plants were thrown around, tossed around, and actually surprisingly for the rain they look wilted, and I'm not sure. Anyway, I have to get out my turnip. They're long overdue actually. They like cold weather, and here we have prolonged early summer cold weather, so they work well here. Many of you probably start them right about now so that they go into the cooler autumn there. These are purple top Milan, and it's just time to get them out. They're going to, with all that rain, they've probably split. They're meant to be a very small turnip, and like any vegetable, you should really pick it at its prime anyways. They're probably a little past their prime, but I'll see and get them out and give these poor broad beans a bit of room. I think I've even got some weird things in there. I don't know if it's carrots or parsnips. They need to breathe now too, so I'm going to pull them all out. Yep, there's a split. Too late. So I think they can breathe a bit more, my broad beans. So that's most of them pulled. I'll just clean them up and separate the greens that are salvageable to have some turnip greens. Separate them and see what we've got. As you can see, there's one right there. There, we're starting to split from the rain, getting too big. So all the leaves I chose. The rest will go to the compost. We're not the biggest fans of turnip greens. So I also noticed there's a few garlic scapes coming, just a few, but I don't like them to get too large, so I'm going to go up and get those now too. So the scapes are just coming out nice and tender at this stage. So I'm just going to take a few for cooking right now. The rest I'll gather later, chop them into tiny pieces, and I freeze them straight without blanching or anything, and use them all winter long in everything. Actually, they're fabulous. Especially love them in scrambled eggs. When it's at this stage, you know your garlic is probably about a month away from being ready to harvest. We'll have some of the turnip greens with supper this evening, and the rest I'll blanch and freeze. They are a tougher green. And the purple top turnip, I like them roasted the most, and but I throw them in boiled vegetables, and of course raw in salads is lovely too. Said to be ancient, and a cross between the regular bulb onion you see here and the bunching onion you see here is the crazy, beautiful Egyptian walking onion. Sustainable. You plant them, you'll have them for life. I absolutely adore them. As we worry these days about the depleted soil globally, the over-tilling we do, when you see something like this perennial, a lifetime perennial, that will never disrupt the soil, it's cool to have. It's kind of the way to go. And aren't they beautiful? So I just couldn't resist singing their praises. When we still have a layer of snow on the ground, the young shoots come up, and you can start eating them right away as green onions. It tastes pungent with a real strong, true onion flavor. If you pull the whole plant out from this level, you'll have a strong flavored leek type onion. But remember, once pulled from the root, then that plant won't come back. However, all these bulbils will fall over, walk through your garden, and create more plants. And the bulbils, or top sets, are terrific in pickling for small pickled onions. They're a bit finicky, but also delicious as an onion. And nothing to me beats the pure enjoyment of how crazy they grow. This one's caught up inside itself. They just some aliens going through your garden. I absolutely love them.